Okay, this is Helen, and we're going to find one of Helen's fear triggers. So, Helen, just tell me about the issue that you want to deal with.
I've got something what I probably class as white coat syndrome. I'm very, very afraid of having any medical intervention, particularly blood pressure being taken. And that kind of stems, I had an episode in pregnancy of almost like preeclampsia, so had severe high blood pressure. Ever since then,
Okay.
I get really tachycardic and sweaty at the thought of it.
Okay. What do you mean by tachycardia?
Like my heart starts racing.
Okay, great. Okay, right. Find the trigger for this. With these things, it doesn't matter where it's come from, and that's the good news for this. Is it just matters that we can find it, and we will very quickly. So, let's say, when was the last time you had an appointment to take, say, your blood pressure?
It was at the gym at work about probably 6 weeks to 2 months ago. I went for like a fitness assessment to join the gym.
Okay. So, when did you know that you were going to have your blood pressure taken?
Not till I got there.
Okay, right. So, well, let's do that. If it was an old doctor's appointment, would you know that you were?
Yeah, I'm on sort of quarterly checkups now for my blood pressure,
Right.
So
Okay.
he likes to keep his eye on me. But I do have a machine at home,
Right.
so I'll avoid going at all costs.
Right. And that's okay. So if you do the machine at home, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's when you go into the doctor's and have it done that's the problem.
When I'm sitting in the waiting room, even I start to think.
Right. Okay. Well, either of those. Let's do the last time you went to the doctor's and had it done.
Okay.
Yeah. So you're on your way in.
Yeah.
And you're on your way to the doctor's. How are you feeling as you?
A bit sort of breathless, I suppose, just a little anxiety.
Yeah.
Because I know what he's going to do. My fear is that it's going to be really high, and then I start to worry about the impact of what that's doing to me.
Okay. So you start getting anxious on the way in.
Yes.
To the as you're driving there. So I just want you to imagine the last time that you went.
Mhm.
Okay. So do you drive? Do you drive to the doctor's?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want you to imagine that you're parking up now,
Mhm.
and how are you feeling as you park up?
Not too bad. I mean, I've got my son with me on this occasion because
Yeah.
I've got no choice. So I'm sort of focusing my energy on him and trying not to think about the forthcoming blood pressure machine going round the arm.
Okay.
So I'm dealing with it.
You're dealing with it, but so what are you dealing with? What's the feeling that you're dealing with?
I'd say anxiety.
Okay.
Just
And where do you feel that?
in the stomach, just sort of here, just the fear of almost the unknown. So I'm not like desperately panicked or anything.
Yes.
I just feel a little bit. Oh, I don't know whether I really want to go and do this.
Okay, right. So you parked up,
Mhm.
and you now go into the surgery.
Yeah.
Okay, and you're in the waiting room. How are you feeling as you're in the waiting room?
Frustrated because I just want to go in and get it done, but
Right.
unfortunately there's a little bit of a wait. So I'm sitting there and now I'm starting to twitch and I'm looking at the telly and then I'm picking up a magazine and
Okay. And how are you feeling whilst?
sort of agitated a little bit, sort of on edge.
Yeah.
I can't sort of settle. I can't just sit there and settle and watch the television because I keep thinking about I don't like this. What I just know what he's gonna do.
Okay. What you're trying to do then is think about anything else.
Anything else, but
Anything else. But you've got this underlying feeling going on that's driving that behaviour.
I'll talk to myself in my head.
Yes.
Anything to sort of take my mind off it.
Mm.
I'll almost like sing to myself in my head
Yes.
to la 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 while the blood pressure's being done to just
Okay.
not focus on it. It doesn't work.
Right. You're still in the waiting room.
Mhm.
And so where are you getting the feelings whilst you're in the waiting room?
In my stomach, just almost, you know, like when you get a bit of a sicky feeling in,
Yes.
in your chest. Just
Yes.
gently peaks and nothing severe at this point, but it is just,
And it's moving up.
yeah.
It's definitely moving up. Okay. So you're there. You're in the waiting room. And how do they call you to the surgery? What happens?
It's like an electronic call and it say, well, patient number 23, please go to room number 1. So you've got your ticket and your bit of paper, and as the numbers counting down, you get a bit more sweaty.
Oh, okay, so you're getting sweatier as the numbers
Yeah.
are counting down. So
Yeah.
you know that your number's coming up.
Yeah.
Right. So how are you the number before yours?
Constantly looking at that number because it flicks
Yes.
before it's audible. So if you're looking at it, you can see it before. So I'm watching it,
Right.
waiting constantly for it to just flick. So I'm out of my seat then. I just want to get it over. I know it's got to be
Yes.
done. I've just got to get it over with as quick as possible.
And how are you feeling whilst you're just watching that number and you know you're next?
Still feeling sick.
Has it moved up any? Is it still,
No,
still the same? Still the same. Okay, great. So, I want you to see the thing and I want you to see your number come up.
Mhm.
What happens? How do you feel the moment you see your number?
My heart's going now,
Your heart's going.
and my mouth's a bit.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm off. I'm down the corridor, probably bashing into the walls on the way down because I'm not a very good driver. I clatter into the doctor's surgery, as you do, and he's lovely. Sit down, and blah blah. How are you? He'll have a little look at the little boy first,
Yes.
as I generally do. And all this time, I'm thinking, just get on with the blood pressure,
Right.
mate.
And how are you feeling while he's doing all this?
Just frustrated because I just want him to get on with it, but he knows the issues, you see, because I've talked to him about it. So what he'll do is he will sit down and generally try and have a little conversation with me about anything first,
Yes.
in order to calm me down. But still, that's not actually working because I still know that's coming.
So you're in his actual surgery
Mhm.
and he's chit chatting. Where are you feeling it now?
Really, really heart racing. I can almost feel, you know, when you talk at speed and your voice is starting to wobble a little bit.
Yes.
Start to feel a bit emotional as
Yes.
well. So
Okay.
yeah, you're like,
Right.
because I know, yeah.
Right. So he's chit chatting, and then what does he say?
He just does it because he knows the issue that I've got. So he'll just, while he's talking, start and do it, and I'll be going la 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 la, and then he basically said, you know, you need to calm down a bit. You're like a galloping horse.
Right. Okay.
So he did it and then took it off and then sat there for another 5 minutes while he generally chit chatted about the family and the baby. And what he was trying to do was just stop me from thinking about the blood pressure, and then he had to do it again.
Okay.
So it still wasn't acceptable.
Okay. So the first time he did it,
Mm.
as he's putting it on, how are you feeling?
I hate it. I hate the feeling of the tightness on your arm as well. You can feel your heart beating. I just don't like it.
So your heart's beating.
Yeah.
Right.
And it gradually gets tighter as well. I
I
feel
want
like
you to
my
imagine-
hand's clammy now.
Right. Okay. Great.
Ooh.
So he started to pump it up. Feel it being pumped
Yeah, I
up.
don't like it. Yeah, I can feel it getting tighter, and a beep, beep. Oh no, that's horrible.
Right. Do you look at the machine?
I didn't used to in lives gone by, but yes, I very much look at the machine.
I want you to just now see it and
I
tell
can't
me
look at it because, yeah.
what happens. I want you to see it and tell me what happens the moment you see it.
Oh my God! Look how high it is. Usually.
All right. So you've seen the reading.
The reading.
Right. I want you to
Right,
see
okay.
it before the reading. Just look at it now.
It's the sound.
Ah. The sound of what? The Velcro.
Yeah.
Hear the sound of the Velcro. What
Yeah.
happens when you hear it?
Oh.
Hear
Yeah.
it now. I want you
Yeah, I
to
can
hear
hear it. I can feel it. I can hear it, and yeah, it's horrible.
Right.
I'm hearing something else now, which is
What are you
not
hearing?
connected to the doctor's
Doesn't matter.
surgery.
What are you hearing?
Wheels being dragged across the floor, like. So when I was in hospital, the blood pressure machines were on wheels, and very, very early in the morning, they used to drag them across the floor when you were asleep. And I'd hear that wheel and I'd know what was coming. So it's a lot of it is sound as well.
Okay.
That's weird.
Ah, that's interesting. Is there what about the sound of it pumping up?
The blood pressure thing?
Yeah.
No, that doesn't bother me.
So that's not...
Sound of the
Oh,
wheels,
that's
sound of the Velcro.
The sound of the Velcro?
Yeah, and the sound of the bip, 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 when it's like, you know, when it's counting
Right.
down. And I'm staring at the numbers.
So how are you feeling as that beep, beep, beep's going on?
Because it's in sync with your heart, it's horrible. Because I've got a racy heart at this point, so my pulse rate is probably about 100, which, you know, doesn't help your blood pressure. So I've got the anxiety, so my pulse rate is going bip, 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 and the numbers are doing whatever the numbers do, and I'm looking. By this point, I've kind of learnt, you know, what's acceptable and what's not acceptable in a medical term, and even in the first few seconds, I know what's going to be a bad reading and what's going to be a good reading.
Okay. So it looks like we've got a number of triggers going on here. So there's certainly one around the sound of the Velcro.
That's horrible. The feel of it as well,
Right.
the tightness.
As it tightens.
Oh, I've always hated that.
Right. I want to slow this down now. Right. So he puts it on your arm. How does it feel? Before, he's only just put it on your arm, nothing else, there's no tightness. How does that feel?
That's all right, I'm anxious.
Yeah.
I'm kind of anxious, but it's not...
Right. Now, the first part of pressure starts.
Yeah, like that.
What happened then?
Just... Because it's gradually, it's like something restricting
Right.
my
I
arms.
want you to just slow this right down.
Right.
It's like a slow motion movie. It's just as the pressure starts. I want you to feel it now.
Oh God, yeah. I feel it tingle.
What happened inside then?
Just felt sick. Just,
Sudden.
yeah, goose pimple.
Okay, so that's a trigger.
Tightening.
That's a trigger then. Okay, so let's see if there's... Yeah, there you
That's
go.
what it means.
You've got a trigger there.
Oh goodness
Okay.
me, yeah.
Yeah, so that must be a powerful trigger then. That's
Oh.
that moment of it starting to tighten.
And I can remember that from childhood as well. That I didn't like having whether it's child, you know, when you have your blood. I've always hated the tightening
Right.
thing, but
Okay.
it's never been a fear to the extent that it is now, because there's never been an underlying issue.
Yeah.
So it's almost like,
Yes.
oh, I don't like that. That's not a nice experience.
Okay.
But now there's something untoward going on with the
Yeah.
blood pressure.
So it's the moment it starts to tighten.
Yeah.
You get that.
Yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
Okay. There may be some others in here as well. So I want you to. So it's tightened right to its maximum now.
Horrible. It's really tight. I can almost
Right.
feel pins and needles in my hands as well. when
Right.
they start
So
to-
it's really tight.
It's really tight, yeah, and I want to get it off.
But I want you to do something else for me. Right? It's really tight. I just want you to look at the doctor in the eyes and see if he's looking at you.
No, to looking
No.
at the machine.
Okay. So what do you see on the machine? Is it a digital readout or is it a bar?
Both.
Both.
I mean, they use both.
Right.
It's the digital readout that gets me the most.
Does it?
Yeah.
Right. I want you to see the digital readout then.
Okay. Next to the bar, I can't. I'm
Right.
not very good at reading.
So what happens to the digital readout? Does it?
It ticks down, so it starts off like high top and
Right.
high bottom numbers,
Yeah.
and as your heart beep, beep, it like sort of counts down, and you can almost guess what your blood pressure is going to be. And I'm watching it,
Right.
and as I'm watching it, my heart's going do, getting faster and
Right.
faster.
Okay.
So I don't
Now-
look at it anymore.
Okay. So I want you to see it. I want you to see it. And what's the worst thing that you could see on that digital readout?
Really high numbers.
A high, like what? Give me the worst that you could
When it's come to an end,
Yeah.
160 over 120.
see. Right. I want you to see it.
Yeah.
Look at it now. Tell me what happens when you see that number.
There's nothing happening inside.
Okay.
No.
That's interesting. I think we've skipped over the trigger.
Yeah.
So we're into it. Right, okay. I think it's to do with the pressure on there, with the context of the sound,
Mm.
because you say you're all right when you do it at home.
Mhm. I don't like it. Don't get me wrong. I don't like it, but I'm nowhere near as extreme. I think when the things that I experience at home are more of a learned thing from everything else.
Right.
It's not.
Well, let's test this, because we've got imaginations. Imagine you were in a doctor's surgery
Mhm.
and the doctor walked out and said, do it yourself.
fine.
Right. Ah, that's interesting. Now imagine that the doctor's in there.
No.
No what?
I'm back to
Right. Okay.
palpitations.
What happens if the doctor was in there and he said, do it yourself?
Don't like it.
Don't like it.
No.
Okay. So it's the presence of the doctor that seems to have something to do with this trigger. And it seems to be two things here. So it's the presence of the doctor and that feeling of, because you had quite a reaction at the moment that it
my
starts.
hands they'll go tingly, very, very clammy when I think about that.
I want you to do this then. I want you to just imagine you're outside the surgery, because the door's shut normally, isn't it, before you walk in, or is it open?
Yeah, shut.
Shut. So you open the door.
Mhm.
I want you to open the door and see the doctor.
Mhm. Like my doctor, lovely.
Right, so there's no issue there, so that's not a trigger. Okay, so it's a contextual thing here. It's very contextual. If you go to the doctors for any other reason, what happens?
Not a problem. I quite like going to the doctor.
Okay, this is all about testing the trigger.
Yeah.
So and a trigger means that it's a trigger. It should trigger every time we do it.
Right.
So we're going to do it again. You're in the doctor's surgery. He's going to take your blood pressure. He's talking to you. And you can feel him. Actually, let's just go back a second. You've got your arm raised, waiting, and he's talking to you. And I just want you to feel his first touch.
Yeah, I know he's going to do it.
What happened then? Feel his first touch.
Yeah, a little wave inside.
So that's a pre-trigger.
Yeah.
Okay. So I want you to feel him while he's talking, because you said you weren't looking.
Yeah, I don't look, and he doesn't make a big deal out of it.
Right.
He just knows that he'll just la la la
Yeah.
try and
Right.
try
So
and,
he's doing that.
yeah.
So the first touch is just a
Yeah,
wave.
it's just a wave. Yeah. Just
He's
a little,
putting it round.
the sound.
The sound. Right.
That's also.
So
I don't like that sound.
So that's a pre-trigger though. It's not having the same effect as that first amount of pressure, is it?
No, not at all.
So
Not at all.
and they tighten it first, don't they? So
Yeah,
just,
sort of.
So it's tight and it's there. Yeah.
I can feel it, and my
Yeah.
heart's getting a little
Okay.
bit faster.
Right. The very first part of just go back and just imagine that first part of pressure.
No,
Yeah, there you go.
I just
That's
know
it.
that. I just don't.
Right. That's your trigger.
Yeah, pressure.
And everything else is and your amygdala's done that. Your amygdala's created that first moment of pressure as the trigger. And you've got all those other pre-triggers and one or two other little things that are sitting inside it in that context, very contextual. Amazing, isn't it?
It is
How
amazing.
specific it
How
is.
specific.
Yeah.
So I thought it was to do with the sound
Yeah.
of the wheels, but it's not there pre.
No.
I know, like I
Yeah.
hate the tightness. I hate
Yeah.
the pins and needles.
And it's that lurch.
It makes my mouth dry to think about it.
Right.
It's just like, oh God, no.
So you found your trigger.
And if you think about it, I've always hated that, even as a child. But until I've just sat and spoken to you, I've not actually made that connection. The connection that I've made is, I've had a bad time in pregnancy.
Yes.
Which actually is, now I'm thinking about it, it's not, I've always hated it. That's just magnified it, I
Yes.
suppose.
Yeah. And that's how specific triggers are. It's a very minute moment, and you know when you've hit it, that moment of...
I felt it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. And what you'll find now is it'll start to get less anyway, the anxiety about it, because it's kind of come out of the closet. But I'm now going to show you how to kill the trigger. So, and I'll show you how to do that.
Good.